Is Bitcoin in a bubble? Today we're going to discuss this question in detail, explain how sentimental analysis is kind of trumping fundamental and technical analysis. Now we talk about this kind of framework for researching different investment classes here on Invest Global. Currently we're focused a bit more on the blockchain crypto space, but it applies to commodities, it applies to emerging market real estate, applies to stocks. And at a certain point when you have this, speculative bubble, as we've seen in past market cycles, it's important to analyze what's really going on with sentimental analysis, because you can have short-term bubbles that pop that are happening inside a longer-term bubble. So currently, that question, is Bitcoin in a bubble? Now, just to get this aside, I'm trying to look at this more as an objective standpoint. I am a fan of Bitcoin. I do hold Bitcoin. And, that's up for a whole nother video if you don't understand the fundamental structure of this. I'm assuming you know a little bit about it if you're watching this video. But just to analyze what's going on as far as the sentiment currently in the market. So it's very, very important to understand this new thing it's basically a metric tool that you can use called NUPL. So you can just Google this, or I'll have a link in the description for NUPL. Essentially what this does is it gauges the market psychology. So it's the fear and greed index. In the traditional markets, this is called the VIX, the VIX. And it's very, very important to understand this, because it's basically, as I said, in the traditional markets, it's analyzing, calls and puts. So trading on options, trading on leverage. So people that aren't just trading spot. So like spot is, if you have $1,000, you're just trading with $1,000. But if you're trading leverage, for example, with margin, you can turn that $1,000 and use 50x leverage and have $50,000 you're trading with, like that. So you can do this in crypto as well. So that's why NUPL is very important to look at, because if things just continue to go up as they are, and we're seeing more and more of these, I think one of the biggest metrics, just to pull aside, so you have the NUPL to analyze a little bit of sentimental analysis, just if you have any questions after this video. But from my perspective, when you start seeing celebrities like, who was it, like Gene Simmons, and it's like, not NBA YoungBoy, some rapper, I honestly can't remember his name exactly, but they're just going crazy. Like, I don't spend too much time on Twitter, but I'm seeing these things where it's like, oh, this rapper endorses Bitcoin, or this rapper's getting into DeFi, and like they're creating their own coins. Okay, this is great, guys. This is incredible for the crypto space. We want to see market adoption. But at the same time, the problem is, you don't want to get your financial advice from a rapper, most likely, especially one who's got like icy Rolexes on his watch, or like big chains. I personally don't like any of that stuff. I mean, great, if that's what you enjoy, go enjoy it. But I see this more of like if you look at the Austrian School of Economics, you can see opportunity costs. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger talk about this, opportunity costs, and how, compound interest is massive. Albert Einstein says compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. So, for example, if you're in consumer debt, and you're paying interest, well, that's compounding. So credit card debt, different things like this, like payday loans, terrible. But if you're earning compound interest, so for example, if you're staking some of your crypto in the DeFi space, we have videos on this. If you're using BlockFi to hold your Bitcoin and earn interest on this, you're compounding that. So these are ways that you can tap into this eighth wonder of the world, as Albert Einstein calls it. And basically, as I was saying with Warren Buffett, so anyone who's kind of taking their financial advice from someone who's a rapper, who's spending their money to buy things to look flashy, to look good, so other people are impressed with them, great. If that's what you love to do, go ahead. But I personally wouldn't take investment advice or financial advice from someone like that. Anyone who's got, like Lambos, all these different things that they're showing off, is like, to me, that's an immediate red flag. It's like, okay, good. I can analyze and go, anyone who's doing that, probably not the best to look at. Because if you look at opportunity cost, any of those things, it's the same thing as like, okay, if you're trying to decide what's the opportunity cost of you going out right now, ending this video, closing it out, and going to buy a donut. Okay, so it's going to take your time. It's going to take your money, and what the whole point of opportunity cost is to analyze, okay, so those are two things you're deciding to do, your time and your money. Life is really just energy over time. So money is a form of energy, right? So you can use money to create more energy. So you can hire someone, for example. You could hire someone to watch this video. You could hire someone to, invest for you. But the thing is you have to decide between that and buying a Lambo, or between that and buying a donut, or between putting, let's say whatever, you get coffee and a donut, that $5, putting that $5 into your stomach, a donut and coffee, and the time you're driving over there, the time you drive back, whatever, if you go through the drive-through, you understand the point. It's really just analyzing that versus, okay, maybe I could put that $5 into Ethereum. Maybe I could put that $5 into Bitcoin. Anything like this, probably $5 is better for like lower cap coins, but that's not the point of this. I apologize for the little digression, but my point here is you shouldn't be taking financial advice from someone who doesn't really understand opportunity cost. And clearly, if you're spending your money as a rapper, which typically they don't have the longest careers if you just look at history, or if you're getting your advice from Gene Simmons or all these other celebrities, it kind of shows that, hey, maybe we're in a short-term bubble. I think long-term, my prediction at the, before 2021 started was that we will see a six-figure Bitcoin at some point in 2021. Now, I may be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll make a video on it, but that's just my personal prediction. Now, that doesn't mean that we won't go from where we are now back down to 30K, back down to, maybe, it's unlikely, but we could test 20K. So, clear answer is maybe we're in a little bit of a short-term bubble. I think it's healthy to see a nice market correction. I made a video on this in the actual last market correction when we dipped it back down after that 40K level, and now we're up above 50K. So it's quite interesting to see this. It's great to see if you're holding Bitcoin. I mean, this is incredible. Everything's green. It's great to see this. And with the massive monetary stimulus, 20% of US dollars were created just last year in 2020. This is all great to see. But at the same time, you have to take a step back and go, okay, let me look at this from the bird's eye view. Let me take a little sip of coffee and try and go, hey, what's really going on here? Let me really understand this from the kind of objective perspective. Take the emotion out of it. Pretend like you're not invested in it. You're someone else looking out for your well-being. So try and go, okay, what's going on here? Let me just gauge the sentiment. Maybe you understand the fundamentals. That's like part of the structures. I always have that video down below, which is do your own research. And that's talking about technical analysis, sentimental, and fundamental analysis. All those things are very, very key to understand. And one of the most important things is when technical and fundamental analysis kind of get thrown out the door, sentimental is key to look at. And that's why right now I think sentimental analysis is very, very important to understand. And again, you want to kind of take this bird's eye view and go, okay, this celebrity is endorsing Bitcoin. Elon Musk put it on its balance sheet, which is incredible. That's really incredible for the fundamentals, for like the whole sentiment. But again, when you see all these things stacking up on one side and you're like, oh, maybe we haven't seen a correction in a long time. Let me tell you, a market correction in a bull run, in a parabola, is key to understand, because you have to understand how parabolas work. Or parabolas rather. So a parabolic run, as I was saying, but the parabola is actually the shape in the chart. So when you see a parabola, it will burn out at a certain point, just like a candle. So like if you have a firework or a firecracker and you light that thing and it just goes immediately down, boom, it shoots off. It's like a one-hit wonder. But if you have, a firecracker that has like a long wick, you start it from like way over here and it's like slowly going, and maybe you stop it, you like put it out here and then keep it going. That's kind of like a little analogy to understand is if it's just immediate, if that thing just goes parabolic and just shoots up, that thing's going to come crashing down. What goes up must come back down. We have to follow the laws of gravity here. So the thing to understand is, yes, we're in a weird market time where we are seeing monetary stimulus. We are seeing all this incredible sentiment in the market that, Bitcoin's incredible. We're seeing it on the news. We haven't even reached the peak of this yet. So you have to understand we're kind of in this middle phase. I would say even like first thirds of this bull run. But again, in the short term, a market correction, so a nice price correction, I would say back down to like, we could see 30K levels, maybe even a little bit below that, when nobody's really expecting it, could happen. And this could happen because, a country bans it. This could happen because something happens, I don't know, another like fake news story comes out that like there's a double spend transaction, or just really anything happens. We also could see this in the opposite direction. I honestly don't really want to see us hit over $75,000. Now, some of you might be angry at me. Some of you might be going, hey, that's affecting my money. Well, it doesn't matter what I think. What matters is you form your own analysis. You understand that potentially we are in a bubble. Hey, you have to certainly go, again, there's short-term bubbles inside long-term bubbles. So I personally don't think crypto is a bubble, but we are seeing market cycles. There's no denying the bull and the bear market, okay? So these are all important things to take into account. I hope you enjoyed this video. I apologize for the digressions, but essentially I just wanted to explain that, I personally think we're in a short-term bubble, yes. I think over the long term, I believe in crypto. I believe in holding it, especially when you compare it with like fiat currency. It's kind of a no-brainer. But that was today's video. Hope you appreciate this one. Definitely check out our other videos on altcoins, and let me know in the comments what you thought about this. If you think we're in a short-term bubble or a long-term bubble, really anything, just let me know in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe button all, invest global, and until next time.